And welcome to Insight. I'm Paul Arthur. Lines are open for your calls anywhere in Canada and beyond. 1-888-816-2545. Emails welcome as well to insight@miraclechannel.ca. Talking about worry today. So what are you worried about? Our guest is Grace Fox. We had her on last year, you might remember, and did a very good show on this very topic. I thought it's worth doing again here. She's the author of a book called Moving from Fear to Freedom. All right, and that's available online, by the way, at gracefox.com or at any Christian bookstore. If they don't have it, just ask them to order it for you. She's also published a number of articles. You've probably seen her name pop up in places like Focus on the Family Publications or Charisma or Today's Christian Woman, among others. All right, so good to have you with us again, Grace. You braved our cold weather. It's very cold because mine is 40 this morning with a wind chill, so it's nasty. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself for our audience who may not be familiar with you?
Right. Well, I'm from Abbotsford, British Columbia. My husband and I are the co-directors of a national organization called International Messengers. So we are working with about 110 missionaries in Eastern Europe, and we take short-term teams from Canada over to partner with those missionaries.
So you actually physically go there yourself?
Yes, yeah. I think from here on in we'll be spending at least a fourth of our year in Eastern Europe doing ministry there. So I write for different publications here. I speak at a lot of different women's events across Canada and internationally now. And then this International Messengers.
And part of your background is missionary work. You've done that yourself in places like Nepal, for example, right?
Yes, my husband and I were there for almost 3 years in Nepal shortly after we were married. And then we spent 11 years working at a Christian camp on a little island off the coast of Vancouver Island from '96 until 2007, at which point we took over the International Messengers in Canada.
Okay, well, you're busy, busy, busy. And of course, part of this ties in with faith as well, believing God for finances, even being in ministry. We'll maybe touch on that a little later in the show here today as well. Why don't you give us a bit of a brief nutshell overview of the book, Moving from Fear to Freedom, and the subtitle here, A Woman's Guide to Peace in Every Situation.
Well, I wrote that book as a result of doing a survey among about 350 women ages 19 to 80. I wanted to make sure that I was hitting it on the mark with what fears we would address. And so some of the things that women said they were afraid of were things like, I've just been diagnosed with cancer and I'm afraid of not being around to watch my kids grow up, or I'm afraid of what this will do to my children as they watch me go through this. Some women said, my husband is sick, he has MS, I'm afraid of what our future holds. Some said, my husband's just been laid off, I'm afraid the money's going to run out before he finds another job. One young gal said, we used to live on in an apartment building, and I was afraid my baby would fall off the 12th floor balcony where we lived.
Interesting.
One gal said, I'm afraid for my kids' well-being, and I don't even have children yet. So
almost a fear not to have children because they're coming into a big bad world, right?
There were some women that said, I'm afraid of abandonment. Some said, I'm afraid to get married because I watched my parents. They had a lousy marriage and I don't want that kind of relationship. While others said, I'm afraid of being single for the rest of my life. So I was able to take these survey results home, and I found that I could almost lay them in piles on the living room floor because they fell into categories. So the fear for my kids' well-being was number one. By far, by double what the next one was.
For moms,
And then there was the fear of financial insecurity and the fear of growing old and facing the related health issues, the fear of an unknown future, the fear of the storms that come in a heartbeat, or you pick up the phone and all of a sudden there's a phone call, someone's been in an accident, your life's never going to be the same.
So, but this is basically fairly common for Christian women as well to have a lot of fears.
Yeah, these events were at Christian women's events. So it showed me the depth of it.
Okay. Now, there's different kinds of fear. There is a good kind of fear, right? And we need to probably touch base on that.
There's a constructive fear and a destructive fear. Constructive fear is a healthy fear. That's what keeps us alive. It's what says you need to cross the street, but you need to look both ways before you do it. We should be scared of the big semi about to run us over, right?
Yeah, it's good fear.
Yeah, it's a good fear. It's a healthy fear. And so that's the kind of fear that we want to breed into our children's lives. But then there's the destructive fear that can give us ulcers and make us sick and cause us to lose sleep at night. And that's... The destructive fear would be that which just binds us and paralyzes us. That's what can keep us from moving forward and living life fully as God intended us to live it. It's just a nagging fear. So sometimes it's one that will just sweep in and paralyze us. Other times it's this ongoing nagging kind of fear where we get caught up with asking questions like, well, what if such and such happens? What if? What if?
I mean, there's people who I think who have different levels of fear, right? Because some people, I think we all have fears. I mean, I have fears. But we handle it differently. Some people are able to handle it fairly well. Other people, are more of a medium level, and other people are really, it is debilitating.
Well, there are phobias that some people struggle with, right? Debilitating phobias. We really need professional counseling to help move through these things. But other times it's just that nagging, ongoing uneasiness about what if, and just worrying constantly.
Does God want us to live with that, you think?
Not at all. I think of scripture that says Jesus came to set the captives free. So we're talking about freedom here, and that's freedom from fear as well.
Okay.
And perfect love casts out fear. Fear can bind us and really keep us from living life as He intended us to live. And I don't think life will ever be without fear. I don't think that's possible, personally. So I'm not saying we should all live without fear. I'm saying fear will come. What do we do with it when it comes?
Well, Scripture also says, even...